Hi, I'm David Berlin, Editor-in-Chief of ProgrammableWeb. Today is Tuesday, October 10th, 2017, and we're here today to talk to Salesforce about their announcement in the space of the Internet of Things. Joining me right now is Woodson Martin. He's the EVP and General Manager of IoT for Salesforce. Woodson, thanks for joining us.
Hey, David, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Salesforce, obviously a long and storied history in the cloud and all that. And as of late, in the last couple of years, with the Internet of Things becoming a rather popular subject matter, it seems as though Salesforce could not resist entry into that market, as well as a bunch of other ones that have come up along the way. Why don't you give us like the 2-minute history of where Salesforce has been with the IoT, and then we'll dive right into the announcement.
Great, David, thanks. So, Salesforce first got into IoT in 2015. And since that time, we've been working with some amazing, fascinating companies, frankly, across a wide variety of industries, companies like Schneider Electric, KUKA Robotics, Ecolab. These are companies who are focused on using IoT as a way to rethink business models and customer experiences in their industries. We got into it in the first place because one of the things customers were telling us is while they were investing tons of money in, stuff like this, sensor devices and the technology infrastructure to make connected products in the first place, it was hard to focus on, to factor in the customer experience for the person behind the product. And of course, that customer behind the product is always been the focus for Salesforce. And it's really a natural fit to bring the way you think about CRM, the way you think about how you service your customers, how you engage your customers, how you sell to your customers into your strategy for IoT. And that's really where we've been focused for the last couple of years. And we're excited today to be making an announcement of a new product in the category, one that brings all of that learning and makes it simple and easy for people who use Salesforce today to tap into the Internet of Things, to start to use that data to build new customer experiences, to iterate on those, and to really differentiate their products and services.
So when you talk about the customer behind the product, you sort of see this as an extension of the customer relationship management. We're talking about customers that use something that may be generating some amount of data, and you want to tap into that data stream to enhance the record that some organization might have of that customer?
Yeah, so that's one way to think about it. Certainly, that's a pretty simple way to think about it. Let's make it real by talking about an actual customer maybe, and sort of the kind of things that we're seeing people do. I'll talk about a company called Rarig Pacific. You probably never heard of them, but you probably have a truck like this one that drives in front of your driveway and picks up your trash cans every week.
It makes a lot of noise when it comes by.
Right.
I'm always on a call too when that happens.
For me, it happens at like 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm usually trying to sleep. But the interesting thing is Rarig Pacific, they don't make trucks, they don't collect garbage, but they make the plastic injection molded trash cans that you wheel out to the curb. And they've embedded RFIDs in these trash cans, and they've put these sensors on the trucks so that when the trucks drive around the route, they can detect which trash can is which. And that's important because it turns out that not every trash client is as, let's say, honest as I am or you are. Sometimes people steal the trash cans and they take the big trash can that costs more money and they stick it in front of their driveway to get rid of all their trash. And now here's Rarig Pacific, a company that has long been in the game of, plastic injection molding, is suddenly becoming a data provider to the waste management industry and helping them to monetize, right? All kinds of things they couldn't before, helping them to provide a better and more proactive service to their customers. So if somebody steals your trash can, you get it back, they know it's gone, they can provide a better service there. But well beyond that, revenue recovery opportunities when people are using the wrong trash cans that aren't the ones they were built for, all kinds of stuff. So it's really the marriage of the customer record, everything you know about a company in Salesforce, what trash can are they supposed to have, right, at that location, and the data that actually is streaming from the Internet of Things at the same time. You put those two things together, and then you use logic, business rules, artificial intelligence over time to help make all those customer-facing business processes smarter. And that's the fundamental idea behind Salesforce IoT.
And you guys do have also a play in the artificial intelligence space as well. So I'm assuming that some of that technology can be brought to bear to analyze the data.
Absolutely. You think about there's been IoT and artificial intelligence used in combination for a long time. And most of the artificial intelligence and IoT today is doing something called anomaly detection, right? It's basically looking across patterns of large amounts of data to try and get better at detecting when there's a problem or there might soon be a problem with, let's say, a piece of equipment or a device. And that's super valuable, of course. There's a lot of prior art there. But what's really newer, when you bring together the world of IoT and you bring together the world of CRM, suddenly you can use artificial intelligence to reason across all of that. Because a lot of the value for a company in figuring out what to do when an anomaly is detected is on the customer end of things. Like, what works well in the customer experience? Let's say, yes, there's a problem and we think the machine might fail within a month. Well, what if the contract expires in a month? Is it better to go ahead and fix the customer's problem now while it's still under warranty so they feel better about the renewal a month from now? Or is it better to just wait, let it fail, and have the customer have an important priority around getting fixed? Like, I don't know. It depends on your business. But you can now reason over all that data, the chain of data. It's not just like detecting the anomaly in the first place, but kind of the responses you take and what you do and what the impact of those things is over time and customers, so you can optimize that process.
Great. Well, okay. So Woodson, you've made several investments over the last couple of years in the IoT space. Sounds like it's working for you, some of your customers. What's the big announcement today?
Yeah, so today we're talking about IoT Explorer. We've taken everything that we've learned over the last few years in IoT and baked the functionality directly into the core Salesforce platform to tap into these data streams that are coming largely from IoT device management platforms. You might think about systems like AWS IoT or Azure IoT, or even in the industrial world, platforms like GE Predix or Honeywell, and using data from those platforms to orchestrate in a simple, low-code way these customer experiences for your end customers. To bring to bear to that all the data that you have in Salesforce about those customer records, the customer history, and then to activate using any part of the Salesforce platform, any Salesforce cloud, to take action, whether through human channels, by activating your sales team to pursue an opportunity you detect through device data, or your service team to go out and proactively fix a problem for a customer, or even to drive the way that you communicate and interact with customers with digital channels like email and mobile messaging, and packaging that all up in a very simple way that helps our customers get started with their IoT strategies and really iterate in this customer experience.
How is that different from what you had before? Because that's the sort of thing that it sounds like you need anyway if you had access to all the data that you've been providing now for a couple of years.
Yeah, well, what's really cool about this is we have a lot of these ideas we've been working on for a while, but we've now put them all into a simple package that we're making very easy for all of our existing customers to take advantage of, baked deeply into the core Salesforce platform, taking advantage natively out of the box. No more need to do data preparation, to move data that you may be managing in Salesforce into a separate environment for your IoT processing. It's all done right in the context of where you're managing your data today and fully leveraging the Salesforce platform. So it's a great step forward, simplifying the world of IoT for our customers.
The proverbial single pane of glass, as they often call it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I know you guys are prepared to show a demo of this today, so why don't we take a look?
Yeah, my buddy George Sains is here, and he's going to walk us through a brief demo of IoT Explorer.
All right, so we'll move over to George Sains. He's the Director of Product Management at Salesforce. So George, why don't you go ahead and give us a show of what this IoT Explorer looks like?
Sure thing. Before I get started here, I just want to make sure my audio and video are coming through.
Absolutely. Can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much.
Great. All right. So as Woodson was just mentioning, this is all about, enabling the customer to solve business problems with device data. And so the demo I'm going to show you today is centered around a use case. We've got a fictional company, Cirrus Solar. They make and manufacture, connected solar panels. And now Cirrus Solar has three problems at the moment. The first is that their cost of service is too high. The second is that their sales pipeline value is too low. And the third is that their case origin, or the way in which they're interacting with their customers, is primarily reactive as opposed to proactive. So Cirrus Solar has all this device telemetry, yet they continue to interact with their customers via email and phone. Now, Cirrus Solar makes hundreds of thousands of these panels, but we're going to talk today about one of their customers, Newton Farms, which is a sustainable agricultural business located in Livermore, California. And Newton Farms has a brand promise to their customers to manufacture or produce all the food using sustainable off-the-grid power. And so the relationship between Cirrus Solar and Newton Farms is really important. Now, the way that Cirrus Solar actually comes in and starts to address these three problems is the first step. They just log into the Salesforce platform. So they do that, they go to the setup tree and they type IoT. In IoT, you've got all the objects that are necessary to build out a complete use case end to end. And I just want to emphasize this because this is different, this is new, and this is really exciting for our customers. They're going to click orchestrations, and they're going to go over to kind of what you can think of as a fleet view. So Cirrus Solar, manufacturing these hundreds of thousands of panels, wants to govern what happens when a panel is in a particular state. So let's say that a state is generating, or let's say that a panel is generating no power. So when panels are installed, they're installed in tracks, and a track could potentially have a problem where it's simply not generating any power. And Cirrus Solar knows from past experience that the easiest way to do this, to resolve this for the customer, is to call out to the inverter control plane and power cycle the unit. Cirrus Solar doesn't even need to get involved. The customer doesn't even know that there was a problem. But it's possible that a track could be generating just less power than it's rated to. And in this case, what we want to do is actually reach out proactively and get the customer engaged so that they can self-resolve the problem. Because Cirrus Solar knows from prior history that this is the sort of thing that a truck roll would be inappropriate to solve, both from a cost and an expediency perspective. If there is actually a problem with the panel, though, we do want to get a truck out on site. And so up to now, we've been talking about Service Cloud. And this is really cool because we can engage and deeply integrate with what we call Field Service Lightning, which is a mobile technician-focused application that helps truck rolls be more efficient. Finally, at the beginning of this demo, we talked about these two predominant problems. One was the service cost, and then the second is that they're not generating enough sales opportunity value. And so this state, the approaching capacity state, looks at all of the device telemetry coming from all of Newton Farms' solar panels. And if it's getting close to where they are actually having to draw power off of the traditional grid, what they can do is we can open a sales opportunity for the Cirrus Solar sales team to go out and sell more panels. So we've been looking at the fleet view. This is all the panels, but let's take a look at what happens to one panel in particular, just to show how this all works. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to simulate a no power generation event. And when we do, we're going to go from the panel monitoring state over to the no power generation state. And you'll see we just moved over. We're tracking a few panels here. And if we go over to our Service Cloud and we refresh, if I can actually get my screen here, yep, we'll see that we've actually just created a case in Service Cloud to let the service team at Cirrus Solar know that the issue is self-resolved. And if we go over to the low power generation state, I'm going to simulate a low power signal occurring here. And what we're going to do is go over to my mobile phone here. And you'll see that the IoT bot just mentioned me. Now, I'm Jeff Manal. I'm running my business. I'm very busy. But I noticed that Salesforce IoT has my back here. All I need to do is click this link, and I'm going to be linked over to a community portal FAQ where I can see all of this information, all this content that would help me resolve this problem. I don't need to reach out to Cirrus. I don't need to send them an email. I don't need to get them on the phone. I can just go and fix this immediately.
Okay, so George,
yeah.
I do have a question for you here, which is, I'm looking at a fairly sophisticated user interface, these spheres that represent different assets and different states of the technology of the power grid, so to say. You've got you pulled up some rules. I saw those. How difficult is it to create all that? Is that something that just comes out of the box, or did somebody have to actually do a little bit of coding to put those rules in and to create these these spheres and interconnect them in a way that closely mirrors the process at the customer site?
That's actually a really good question. So the answer is that we've built a UI that enables business users, not software engineers, to go in and create these rules. And these rules, I mean, are just about as simple as are shown here in these quick descriptions. What you do is you click over to the rules, and to your point, some of these are going to come right out of the box. We were going to be having industry-specific packages that can be installed from the App Exchange that will enable you to just get running, 0 to 60 in minutes. But for those that
by industry specific, you mean like there are different verticals, and rules are pretty common to some of those verticals. Take, medical or manufacturing or agriculture, and the rules generally seem to be the same. So you pre-bundle some of the more common ones.
Not just the rules, but actually the states and the entire use cases are oftentimes very common. So yes, and then where I was going with that, the next step is that, should that package not quite be what you need, the process of going, modifying, and iterating, and then up here in this button, activating or putting into production these use cases is the sort of thing that we can see our trailblazing customers doing in days, not weeks, not months. I mean, this is really simple, really easy stuff.
All right. I think you're covering a lot of the different possibilities. What about just the part of connecting the sensors that are the things in the Internet of Things to this system? How difficult is that?
Well, what we do is we expose, it's actually really simple. It's just posting, we use the same platform endpoints that every other platform service provided by Salesforce uses. And so anyone who is familiar with any part of the platform will right at home sending device data to Salesforce IoT.
Okay, so go ahead. You wanted to say something?
I was just going to chime in and say we're also working very closely with a lot of the IoT platform players. We talked about AWS IoT earlier today to provide package integration between their IoT platforms and IoT Explorer. So it's really simple and right out of the box for customers. Starting November 6th in San Francisco, we'll be hosting our annual Dreamforce conference where customers and partners, 100,000 people or more out at Dreamforce to basically get their hands on the technology, to understand how the technologies fit together to help them solve business problems. In IoT specifically, we'll have 17 different customer case studies on show. We have built a Lego city that emulates the city of San Francisco with a whole host of smart city technologies, simulating the use cases and how these flow through from actions that happen with physical devices that spawn services that include, rolling physical trucks on the floor. It's an amazing visualization that helps people understand not only, of course, these real customer use stories, but also illustrating a whole host of them right here in one physical space with the IoT Lego City. So it's going to be an amazing opportunity to learn more about IoT and more about how bringing together the power of CRM with IoT platforms brings that amazing ability to get proactive in sales, in service, and in customer experience for every connected device.
Great. So if you want to go to Dreamforce, where do people go to find out more about that?
Dreamforce.com is the shortcut, and check it out. We'd love to see you there.
And for the IoT Explorer, where can people find out more information about that?
On our website, salesforce.com/IoT.
Oh, perfect. That's really easy to remember. Okay, well, Woodson Martin, EVP and General Manager for IoT, the Internet of Things at Salesforce. Thank you very much for joining me. And thanks very much to George Sains, the Director of Product Management there. Great to have you today on the show.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, I'm David Berlin, Editor-in-Chief of ProgrammableWeb, bringing you another one of our video demonstrations on the ProgrammableWeb podcast. For more of these, you can go to our YouTube channel. We have one up there. We've got a couple other of these videos loaded up. We'll have more coming. And you can also come to ProgrammableWeb and find the article embedded in my write-up of this particular story, along with a full transcript of what Woodson and George said. So thanks very much for joining us.